everyone. I hope you're doing well. And this is your Royal Daily News for October 24th, 2022. In Colmar-Berg, Her Royal Highness Grand Duchess Maria Theresa of Luxembourg, accompanied by His Royal Highness Prince Louis of Luxembourg, held an audience with Miss Bahara Pazuki at Chateau de Berg. In 2012, Ms. Pazuki arrived in Luxembourg from Iran and established the successful company Magrid. The company offers digital-based learning solutions for children with, quote, special education needs, whether for medical, social, or cultural reasons, end quote. In 2021, Ms. Pazuki won the Creative Young Entrepreneur Luxembourg Award as well as the first prize of the Social Innovation Competition 2021 organized by the EIB. During today's meeting, the Grand Duchess congratulated Ms. Pazuki for her immense success, while Prince Louis took a special interest in Magrid's program and wanted to learn more. In Luxembourg City, His Royal Highness Grand Duke Henri of Luxembourg held an audience with the former, current, and future governors of the Belgian Luxembourg district of Rotary International on the occasion of World Polio Day. According to the Cour Grand Ducal, 35 years ago, the World Health Organization, WHO, launched the Global Polio Eradication Initiative with Rotary International as one of its founding partners. In Avila, His Majesty King Philippe VI of Spain presided over the inauguration of the first academic year of the University Training Center of the National Police, held at the Escuela Nacional de Policía. According to a press release, the University Training Center of the National Police depends on the Ministry of the Interior through a Directorate General of the Police and acquires the status of an attached university center to provide studies leading to official university degrees. With the creation of this autonomous body, a new stage in the educational system of the National Police begins, which will provide its members with specialized and quality training adapted to the needs of public safety. This year, 400 officers of the National Police will study towards a bachelor's degree in order to obtain the appropriate qualification or opt for promotions and develop their personal career within the National Police. In the evening, Their Majesties King Philippe VI and Queen Letizia of Spain attended the opening of the 2022-2023 Teatro Real de Madrid season. Tonight, Their Majesties, along with a sold-out crowd, watched the opera Aida by Giuseppe Verdi. In Vilnius, Their Majesties King Philippe and Queen Mathilde of the Belgians began their 3-day state visit to Lithuania. The purpose of the visit is to strengthen bilateral ties as well as to celebrate the 100 years of diplomatic relations between Belgium and Lithuania. Upon their arrival at the Presidential Palace, Their Majesties were warmly welcomed by the President of the Republic of Lithuania, Mr. Gitanas Nausėda, and First Lady Diana. After the national anthems were played and the inspection of the guard took place, Their Majesties, the President, and the First Lady participated in a photo op and press conference in the Whitehall at the Presidential Palace. Then Their Majesties signed the Book of Honor and exchanged gifts as well as decorations inside the Green Hall. During the exchange, Their Majesties received the Grand Cross on the necklace and the Grand Cross of the Order of Vytautas the Great, two of the highest awards of Lithuania. The order was established in 1930 to commemorate the 500th anniversary of the death of Vytautas the Great, the famous Grand Duke of Lithuania. In the afternoon, His Majesty the King participated in a business meeting. Meanwhile, Her Majesty the Queen and First Lady Diana visited the Vilna Gaon State Jewish Museum. Whilst there, Her Majesty the Queen viewed various exhibitions that are currently on display. In the late afternoon, Their Majesties arrived at the Antakalnia Cemetery, where His Majesty the King placed a wreath at the base of a memorial for those who were killed in the struggle for Lithuanian independence. This evening, a gala dinner was held at the Palace of the Grand Dukes of Lithuania in honor of Their Majesty's state visit and hosted by the President and First Lady of Lithuania. For those of you who are interested in fashion, and I'm not, I basically live my life in bikinis, sundresses, and flip-flops, Her Majesty the Queen is wearing a custom gown designed by Nathan Couture, and her tiara is actually a necklace once owned by the late Her Majesty Queen Fabiola of the Belgians. In Muscat, His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said of Oman arrived at the royal airport to begin his 2-day official visit to Manama, Bahrain. Seeing His Majesty the Sultan off were his son, His Highness Said Thayazin bin Haytham Al Said of Oman, and His Highness Said Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Said of Oman, as well as other Omani government officials. Accompanying His Majesty the Sultan on his official visit are various high-ranking Omani government representatives, including the Deputy Minister of Defense Affairs, His Highness Said Shihab bin Tariq Al Said of Oman, and the Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman to the Kingdom of Bahrain, Mr. Said Faisal bin Hareb Al Busaria, to name a few. An hour or so later, His Majesty the Sultan arrived in Manama, Bahrain, where he was warmly welcomed by His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of Bahrain and other government representatives. Thereafter, at Al Shakir Palace, His Majesty the Sultan and His Majesty the King held a meeting. During the meeting, discussions focused on the, quote, distinguished fraternal relations between the Sultanate of Oman and the Kingdom of Bahrain, and the close historical ties that unite them were reviewed, in addition to discussing aspects of the existing bilateral cooperation between them in all fields and all ways that promote common interests and brings prosperity to the people of the two countries. End quote. His Majesty the Sultan and His Majesty the King also signed agreements of cooperation, memoranda of understanding, and executive programs. The memoranda of understanding and executive programs covered the areas of information technology, municipal work, higher education, scientific research, innovation, competition protection, anti-monopoly, space sciences and technologies, aeronautics, and social development. In addition to cultural and museum work, development of small and medium enterprises, historical documentation, and management of documents and archives. The two sides also signed executive programs between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Sultanate of Oman and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bahrain in agricultural, animal, fish, scientific, educational, and environmental protection fields. In the evening, a gala dinner was held at Al Shakir Palace in honor of His Majesty the Sultan. Prior to the feast, Their Majesties exchanged gifts and decorations. His Majesty the King conferred on His Majesty the Sultan the Order of Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa, Excellent Class, which is Bahrain's most supreme accolade. The conferment of the order demonstrates the King's deep appreciation for His Majesty the Sultan and incarnates the deep-rooted historical relations binding Oman and Bahrain. Meanwhile, His Majesty the Sultan decorated His Majesty the King with the Oman Civil Order First Class, which is Oman's loftiest accolade. The conferment of the order manifests His Majesty the Sultan's appreciation for the King of Bahrain and reflects the pride over the depth of fraternal relations between the two countries' peoples. Then His Majesty the King presented His Majesty the Sultan with a commemorative gift, a giant sword and rifle. In return, His Majesty the Sultan presented an Omani khanjar, which is a dagger, to His Majesty the King. The exchange of decorations was attended by the official delegations of the Omani and Bahraini sides, as well as senior Bahrain government officials. In case you're wondering, they didn't get any gifts. Meanwhile, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa of Bahrain participated in an exciting meeting with members of the Bahraini Council of State. In Doha, Her Highness Sheikha Al-Mayasa bint Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani of Qatar, as chairwoman of the Qatar Museums, attended the inauguration of the exhibition entitled Safar, held at the Museum of Islamic Art. In Oman, His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan held an audience with the Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Secretary General of the Organization for Security and Cooperation, and the Foreign Minister of Macedonia at Al Husseiniya Palace. Each of the individuals will be participating in the upcoming 2022 Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe Mediterranean Conference, hosted by Jordan at the Dead Sea. And finally, Her Royal Highness Princess Tatiana of Greece is in my hometown of Los Angeles, California, for a brief trip with her sweet dog, Rumi. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Tuesday, October 25th, with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful Monday evening and a great day tomorrow. And also, I'd like to say, for those of you who are celebrating, I wish you and your family and your friends a very happy Diwali. Okay, take care everyone. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.